Sahanavavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
In our scriptures, in our culture, we never think of learning as a one-time activity. Learning is an evolving process. Every day we learn something or the other from someone or the other. In Bhagavatam, there are stories of Dattatreya, who is going around like a mendicant, like an ascetic, and he learns from everyone. He learns even from a bee, a snake, and so to say, even from a prostitute, how to pine for the divine like she waits for a client. To that extent, learning has been given importance that you can learn from anybody, and there is no real difference between one and the other as long as you are learning a lesson from them. And that is why an open mind to learn is very important. Janaka, being whoever he was, a very powerful king and very generous and very rich, who sustained yajnas for hundreds of years, they say. That kind of king, when he really met an Atmagyani, because all this while people were teaching him about karma kandas, which is how to do rituals properly and how to propitiate gods and get whatever rewards you need to run the kingdom well, the wealth, progeny, cattle, gold, good rains, safety from the enemies, or winning the wars. All these kinds of Homa Yajnas he has performed, thousands of them. But he has not attained that highest knowledge. He has kept himself busy doing so many things, and probably was thinking that he is getting wiser by the day because he is continuously performing one act or the other, which is supposedly spiritual, and he is in the company of hundreds of wise sages, so probably he is getting wiser. But till he met Ashtavakra, he did not realize how much he did not know. The fools pride themselves with whatever little knowledge they have, simply because they don't know how much they do not know. Whereas the wise ones are always humble because they know that there is so much more to be learnt and they do not know everything. That is the idea. Janaka was a wise king because he understood that so much he does not know still. The other day, a drama was presented by the students of our university in Alakadranhalli. And what did they present? They talked about the story of Shwetaketu and his father Uddalaka. Uddalaka himself was a great rishi and he also was running a Gurukulam. But then he chose to send his son to another Gurukulam because sometimes children don't think much of their parents' wisdom. It was so then, it is now also. So they sent to the nearby school, not in their school. And then Shwetaketu, 12 years of education, like in our Veda Gurukulam, we have 12 years syllabus, finished everything, absolutely proud of all the knowledge and all the skills that he had gained over these 12 years. And with all the ahankara that comes to the ignorant, the fool, though he is very knowledgeable, he is not wise. He comes, and when people address him as the son of Uddalaka has returned, he feels offended. He says, I am Shwetaketu. I must be known by my name. Now I have a standing, I have an identity, I have a status. I am a graduate. Don't call me by my father's name. That's how arrogant he became. Till he meets his father and the disciples in father's ashram who are far wiser than him. And he learns about Atma Vidya. Father asks him, have you learned that knowing which everything gets known? He says, what's that? Out of syllabus for him. He hadn't heard about something like that. But he knows all the mantras, all the samhitas, all the kandas, everything. Whatever other ritualistic aspect of Veda is there, There are Rig mantras are there, then samhitas. Rig samhita has so many mantras, mandalas, and he knows how to perform all the other Vedangas he is aware of, but he is not aware of this Advaitic idea that there is some knowledge knowing which everything gets known. It's like the master key which opens all the doors. So for the first time, he hears of such a concept and gets very enamored and intrigued. And so his father says, "Come here, I'll teach you." And what a wonderful teaching it was. Everything through very real examples. The whole Chandogya Upanishad. They picked up the stories from there. Of course, they improvised on it with English dialogues. But the original ideas come from there. Like all the rivers, they go and merge in the ocean, become one with the ocean, and you cannot separate the waters. Likewise, all the beings finally merge in the ultimate reality, and they are all made of the same reality. And you cannot separate them eventually. Gold is one, ornaments are many. You can distinguish between the ornaments, but at the end, if you melt them all, it becomes one single gold. And that is the idea of reality. And the example he gives also of clay pots, where there are different kinds of pots, jars, pans made out of clay. But at the end, they are all clay. Only for the namesake, vacharambham vikarena. Just for the sake of calling them by some, based on their purpose or functionality or utility, we give them a name. A jar carries liquids, a pot carries water, or a pan is used for storage. Whatever a little differentiation they have, like a ring is to be worn in the finger, a chain around the neck, and so on. So he explains that this is how the world is. The whole thing is made of the same Brahman, the same consciousness, but that manifests as men, women, rich, poor, old, young, wise, otherwise, and all that. The idea of Brahman being one is what he was trying to teach. That was also seen in the quiz that was there yesterday. So these little examples were the way our teachers of the old times taught. Because for children to understand it is difficult. That time there was no electricity. So he could not use the electricity example, which I can. But then that is how it is. So the idea is that learning never stopped. Just because you got a graduate degree, it didn't mean that you become wise. Even if you read up all the Upanishads and Ashtavakra Gita, you by heart it, it doesn't mean that you have become wise. You have the information, that's all. You have gathered a lot of information, but you haven't processed it. You have to digest it, assimilate it through practice. So we go back to the same old thing: practice, practice, and practice. Even a little practice, Vivekananda says, an ounce of practice is better than 10,000 pounds of preaching. And that is where I also come from. Enough of preaching, we must practice. But for the sake of completing something that we started, we are continuing with Ashtavakra Gita. Otherwise, the truth of Ashtavakra Gita is that it doesn't need so many shlokas. A few shlokas also, if you can understand, you will be redeemed. Because every shloka carries the same ultimate wisdom being spoken in so many different ways. And I have this suspicion this Ashtavakra Gita has been improvised over several years by several people. Oh, they have added shlokas, they have removed shlokas. So that is how there was no one real author of our scriptures. See, everywhere else you go, you have the Bible by John, you have the Bible by somebody else, or you have got something else by somebody else. But in India's Vedas, they did not really mention everywhere that who is the one who wrote this, because it was a collection of ideas which had come from many people. There are 400 Vedic rishis, they say, out 25 were women rishis. So you can imagine that they were willing to take from everybody. All these feministic ideas or whatever, the male chauvinism is all new. In the Vedic times, everybody was able to contribute their ideas and walk this Vedic path without having any gender difference. So that is the idea, that we learned from everybody. We allowed thoughts to come from all directions, as Rigvedic Suktam says, Ano Bhadra Krituvo Yantu Vishwataha. May good thoughts come to us from all the directions, from everyone. So learning from everyone was the way of India, and that is what we should also be. Even if you are a grown up, very senior in the hierarchy or whoever you are, never stop learning. There is something that you can learn from anybody. And how do you learn? By being a keen observer. Learning happens when you observe. Observe others, observe things, observe situations, and contemplate on them. People see, but they don't see it because they only see, they don't observe. So they don't learn. They hear, but they don't listen, so they don't learn. Likewise, they only think, but they don't contemplate, so they don't learn. So these are the ideas how to learn. You have to deeply assimilate it by putting some efforts after going back from the classroom, and the best effort is to try practicing it. Because once or twice you practice, you will come to know whether it is easy or difficult, whether you really understood the subject. Looking at the cookery book, how to cook food, you just think that you know how to cook food, but only when you put a pan on the stove, you realize it doesn't work like that. And everything is not the same, because I have tried a lot of new things cooking. As Swami Vivekananda said, time is equal to concentration. The more concentrated your mind is, the faster you can achieve things. So anyway, what I mean to say is that I watched videos and I thought I know how to cook, but when you started cooking, you realize it's not working out. There is something missing. So my halwa went bad 3 times before I really achieved the right halwa fourth time. So you see, I won't tell those 3 halwas which went wrong. I only tell about the good halwa that I made. Typical. We don't talk about our failures, right? So that is how it is. But you finally get it. When you keep trying it enough number of times, you get it right. But just by watching, you don't get it. You have to put it into action, howsoever little. And that is how I have started learning. So these are the ideas that we have put into action. And now we will continue because there is a lot to cover. We had done the previous sloka. Up to 62 we had done, where he says that dehe vigalitashasya kwa raga kwa viragata. Where is the concept of giving up something or getting attached to something. Attachment and detachment is the concept of the mind only. But these great ones who have gone beyond the vagaries of mind, who operate from the higher consciousness, there is nothing called attaching, nothing called detaching. Whatever comes their way, they are happy with it. They do not find peculiarities and particular about things. Whatever comes as a natural process, because they have no body consciousness or they have no desires of body and the mind, so they are able to adjust with everything. And that is the idea of the great ones. Whereas the fools, what they say, they try to renounce what they have achieved and try to feel that, oh, they are now getting spiritual because they have given like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in life. Wise ones, even if all those things are there, it doesn't matter to them. Kabir Das was there. Somebody came and gave him all the way from the city to his hut, knowing that he was a wise man, and they gave him a very precious gem, it seems. And Kabir Das didn't even think what it is, because he didn't even bother. He said, I don't need it, it's an unnecessary burden. Where will I keep in my hut? So the wise man wanted to test whether he's really wise and detached. So for the wise man, the gem or whatever, the diamond was very precious. He knows the market value. But he gave. So Kabir Das ji told one of his assistant, just stack it up somewhere on the top. Then those bamboo roofs are there, just somewhere up on the purlins. So that man also didn't bother. His disciple was also like him, just put it there without thinking what is the price of it. Then this rich man thought maybe by now Kabir Das would have discovered the price of this diamond and he would go to the market and would have made big money out of it, and probably by now he has left his little hut and made a mansion for himself. So after a few months he came to check on Kabir Das what he did with the diamond. When he came there, he was still sitting in the hut doing his weaving and eating the same food, wearing the same clothes. So this man was surprised. He said, I gave him such a precious gem. He could have become a millionaire by now. What did he do with it? So he went and asked, what did you do with it? He said, who are you? He said, I was the one who came that time and gave you a stone, a precious stone. And he called his assistant and said, did this man come and did he give anything? He said, yeah, I think he gave us a stone. Where is it? I don't know, somewhere up we had kept it. So he looked for it, and pulled it out saying, is this what you gave? This man was shocked. He said, this man, Kabir Das doesn't care. It's his diamond. It is so precious. Whereas this man is so untouched, unaffected. Now, giving up a diamond is the idea of the jeweler rich man. Kabir Das has no idea of giving up or as receiving it. Both do not exist in his mind. Diamond is a diamond. It is little use to me. I'm happy with my lifestyle. I have a little hut. I do my weaving. I chant my dohas. And people come to me for some advice. I give them for free. And my life goes on. He has no other desire. So give him a diamond and think that you can change his life and help him to upgrade his lifestyle and all. He doesn't care because he's so happy within himself that he does not need anything else to make him happy. When we see a lot of these saints who seem to be suffering, oh, they have only 2 pairs of clothes, they don't have a car for themselves, they don't have a family to cook hot food and serve them, they don't have a proper mansion to live in. We think they are living a very sad life, very difficult life of lot of austerity. And we always think, oh, spirituality is such a pain, people have to give up everything, they have to suffer like this. But truly they are not suffering. You are suffering because you cannot give up things, and for you all these things are important to be happy. For them they are free, mukta. They are free, they are not dependent on these things to be happy. So they are happy within themselves. And that is the idea. You can't add to their happiness. You cannot remove anything from their happiness by giving them something of the world or taking away something of the world. They are what they are, like oceans full of themselves. Rivers come and flow into them, water evaporates, they are the same. Mahahridi yesterday, the huge big lake, where water comes in, water goes out, the lake hardly gets affected. So that is the idea. These people are so self-contented that they don't need anything else to make them happier or less happier, because of which there is no idea called I need to have this or I must give up this for the sake of attaining God. Now, there is a good chance that fools who listen to such shlokas will start thinking that they are wise and they don't have to give up anything in life, enjoy life as it comes. There is some misinterpretation. That is the problem, but we will come to that. There are some nice shlokas coming up for such other wise ones who think they are wise. The next shloka is in page number 44, it is 63 shloka, which says Bhavana abhavana asakta drishti mudhasya sarvada bhavya bhavanaya satu swasthasya drishti rupini. Again, very beautiful shlokas, because these are all very much the play of words, and they are like one line talks about the fools, the other one talks about the wise ones. So this comparative kind of analysis in every shloka it's coming up. So he says this bhavana and abhavana. Bhavana is your imagination, your understanding, your perception. Abhavana is not having that imagination, not having that understanding of that perception. So some people look at fire, they say, oh, this is very dangerous. Some people say fire is necessary. They have two perspectives of the same things. So people have their own understanding of what this world is. Some people say, those who love cold, they would love to go to Kodaikanal. I hope they started walking, the winning team yesterday. So Kodaikanal. But some other people, cold bites them. They don't like Kodaikanal at all. They want to rather stay in a hot place, like Rajasthan or somewhere. The idea is that for each of them, the world feels different. For some, heat is very pleasurable. For some, heat is a pain. For some, cold is very nice. Some people hate cold. So some people like spicy food, some people like sweets. And there are many different ways how each one of us looks at the world. And everybody is right or everybody is wrong, whichever way you put it. They have their own perception. So bhavana, abhavana is that. How we perceive the world, how we imagine it to be, it is very individual to us based on our dispositions and our backgrounds. So that for the asakta, for the attached one, these things exist. Oh, this is good, that is not good. This is nice, that is not nice. This is better, that is lesser. These are the ideas of the attached ones, the ones who have mental, what you call attachments. Now, they look at all these things as separate. This is good, this is bad. Who are those people? Mudhasya. Mudha means fool. So fool thinks of either this in this way or in that way kind. So they have two ways of looking at things. Whereas bhavya bhavanaya, having contemplated on things of the world, having analyzed our own understanding and perceptions, the wise one who is known here as a new word has been used, swastha. Swastha means the one who is living in his natural state. Swa means himself, stha means staying natural to himself. So swastha is also being used as good and healthy. Healthy is the word also, in Sanskrit is swastha. That's why Sai Swasthya, we have all these swasthya programs. Swastha means to stay in your original state, original self, without being affected by anything. So what is a disease? Dis-ease is disease. When you are at ease, you are not having a disease. So this is the idea. When you are at ease, when you are yourself. That is the same idea borrowed for healthcare, where we said if somebody is not at ease, it means somebody is not being his natural self, he's been affected by an infection or some issue, then the person is called having a disease. He's not at ease. The same thing, swastha. Swastha means he's staying in his original natural state of comfort. He's not in an artificial state. So such a person, everything he sees, whatever is there around, and he analyzes it quickly. Oh, these are only imaginations. The clay pot, the clay pan, the clay whatever, a jar, jug. These are all imaginary differences. They don't have, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. All are same at the end. That quick understanding, the wise one who is established in his true self, in the consciousness, is able to understand. And what he says, adrishti rupini, he says, whatever he sees, he does not see it. It means when everybody is going after, oh, this is a diamond, that is a ruby, this is an emerald. Wise one sees all there are stones, these are all stones of different colors. When the others fight, this is chain, this is a ring, that is a bracelet, that is an armlet. This fellow says, oh, all this is gold. What it means is that he sees but does not see, is how it is said. Whereas a fool sees what he should not see. He sees it in different ways. Some people like it this way, some people like it that way. Because they are attached to the external forms and names. Whereas this one sees the inner truth. And external development things are not a big botheration for such a person. So that is why very beautifully it has been used that bhavana and abhavana, this is good, that is not good, exists only for the fools because they see the differences. Whereas the wise one, quickly, bhavya bhavana, he immediately analyzes his thoughts and says, oh no, these are all different pots and pans made of the same clay. So he sees the clay where others see the pot. He sees the gold where others see the bangle and chain and ornaments. He sees the ocean where others try to see the water. So this is how he is able to see far deeper than the rest. That's why for such a person, Panditaha Samadarshinaha it is said. The wise one are equal visioned. They see everybody as equal. Shunischaiva Shwapakecha it is says. To the people, he sees the dog and the dog eater. It means those people who eat animals. He sees both of them as same. He doesn't feel one is killing the other and things like that. For him, everybody is same because he does not see the external bhavana, abhavana. He sees the idea of oneness because he's established is in his self. So he kind of have a different glasses through which he sees the world. The glasses of consciousness in which everything looks like one. There are no differences. So that is the idea of the great ones, whereas the fools see it differently. So the idea that similar idea exists in Bhagavad Gita also. It is not there in this shloka, but I was just mentioning that it's called, the shloka comes from 13th chapter which says Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinachchyatsu Avanshantam. In the perishable, the one who sees the imperishable, Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati. He alone sees, others are blind. Bhagavad Gita says. If you are seeing differences, you are a blind person. If you are seeing the imperishable in the perishable world, then alone you are seeing. If you are only seeing the perishable world of men and material, then you are a blind person. You don't have eye of wisdom. You have physical eyes, of course, with which you see all the differences. But the one who sees the immortal self in all the mortal existence, that person alone sees, because he sees that the same divine self is present in all the things. That is the idea of Samadarshina. If Pandita, Pandita means wise, Samadarshina means has same vision. That is why the wise ones are able to accept everybody and reject none. They also know this person is badly disposed, he is a criminal or he is not a nice person from the mind point of view only. At the self level, they are able to still accept, saying that this is another expression of the divinity. A little bad as expression in the worldly parlance, but ultimately it's divine. Like some jeweler got a, let us say, a little gold. Now he does not have good workers. They made a terrible design out of that gold. Some other was having very fine workmanship. Nice ornament came out of it. It is not gold's fault, right? It went in the hands of some bad craftsman, and so it became a bad ornament. Somebody got a nicer design, that's all. But if you go to the jeweler and say, you see, I want to sell this, is the jeweler going to ask, no, I don't like this design, so I won't buy yours. I will like that design, so I will buy that. No, he is going to take any of that, melt it, and make it into the original state of gold. And gold matters to him. He'll make anything out of it, he knows. So this problem that this lady likes this design, that lady likes another design, is the problem of the lady. When both the ladies go to jeweler, he'll take both the ornaments and say, no problem, I'll give you the value of the gold that is inside this. I'm not bothered about what is the design and whether it is the latest or the old one. So this is the idea. The wise ones see the gold and therefore they have no problem with the designs outside. The unwise ones, oh, this design is not good, so I will not take this. They see the inner worth of people. That is why when people asked, how can you love people knowing that they are what they are? I said, that is because I don't love them for what they were. Not even for what they are, but what they can be, what they are potentially can be. And that is why we invest so much in them. Because I know that everyone is potentially divine, every soul is potentially divine. That is what Swami Vivekananda said, and that's what our scriptures say. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. The self, the soul is divine. It is not just an ordinary mortal. So a guru, a wise one sees that. That's why everybody he can accept. A beautiful song comes from Swami Vivekananda movie. I think earlier it was sung also, that how an ordinary, I think a dancer like thing, a woman of low esteem was called to the king's court to entertain everybody, like it used to happen earlier. Vivekananda happened to be the guest during that court session. So he got very offended, saying that how could you call such a lowly lady to dance and entertain when I am sitting, the Gyani here? But the lady had come with great devotion, thinking that, oh, for at least once I am standing in front of a great Jnani, some punyam will come to me if I dance in front of him. See, she came with that pure devotional faith. Whereas Swami Vivekananda judged her as a lady not worth of his, presence. So she sings a beautiful song that, she says, Prabhuji mere avaguna chitana dharo. Don't look at my faults and frailties, O Lord. Samadarshi hai naam tumharo. Your name is the one with equal vision, Samadarshi. You cannot differentiate, you cannot discriminate between me, who is a lowly woman in the society, versus somebody who is a queen. That is for the unwise ones. But I stand in front of you, the wisest of the wise. And I have come with devotions. I know my dance is not the best to offer to you, but that is all I have. I am here to offer you. He says, when the same iron used to tie down a criminal, right? And the same iron also might be in the puja altar, in the form of a statue or whatever. But when the philosopher's stone touches, whether this is the iron in the feet chained to the prison or in the iron idol inside the puja altar, it doesn't know the difference. It changes both of them into gold. That is the story, right? A philosopher's stone can turn any metal into gold. So it doesn't know this is from the criminal and that is from a prayer altar. It treats both of them same. That is how your vision should be. She teaches a lesson to Vivekananda. And then Vivekananda, of course, accepts that. He shouldn't have thought of her as different. By looking at her body and her profession, he shouldn't have judged her as a lesser being. That is the idea. So if you see only the external things, and that's why you love some people, you hate some people, you want some people, you don't want some people, then you are only being a fool, mudha, who is seeing it all wrong. Whereas Swastha, the one who is established in the self, he will not see these external differences. He knows these are externally different, but still he truly sees the inner similarity, inner consciousness is one and the same. That is why people feel so elevated when they are in the presence of such masters, because they don't feel judged, they don't feel discriminated. And that is very important, because that is the first step to heal people. Stop judging them for what they are. But of course, they need to be told, see, this is where you're wrong and this is how you can be right. That guidance can be given, but not with a sense of judgment, but more with a sense of compassion, kindness and acceptance. That's possible only for the wise ones. So that is where sometimes our people also come, the students make mistake. I tell them, you ask yourself how many mistakes you made in your student life. You're still here, right? So God is compassionate, that is why you're here. Show some compassion. Of course, there are some incorrigible people, you give them another chance or decide how to, but don't do it with a sense of hatred or judgment. Do it with the sense of compassion and acceptance and a positive effort to transform them into better beings. That is all the teachers are supposed to do. So that is the idea, which is very beautifully mentioned over here. I don't know why, but I have also in this book, in next page, I had mentioned about Swami Vivekananda's. I have learnt a lot from his life. I have read a lot of Swami Vivekananda's literature, because somewhere I feel he's like somebody who is little ahead of me, like, who started this journey when he was a young boy. He also had problems. He went to his guru. Guru said, forget about your problems. You just follow me and do my work and build an organization, spread the word, take dharma, Sanatana dharma to the world. I told them to pick up a letter from Swami Vivekananda, which was, so somewhere I saw this, his published letters these are. So he had written to somebody by name Joe, who lives in California in 1900. In 1902 he died. So just 2 years before his passing. And he writes, and I'm not going to read the whole of it, but I am just telling that, see, even when he was where he was, how easy or difficult it was for him. So this was letter, but I'll come to that part, which is the most important part. Yeah, this one. In this letter, he writes to this person. I'm sure there must have been some issue there because the letter's tone is like that. He's trying to resolve an issue with somebody in London. Here he says, behind my work was ambition. Behind my love was personality. Behind my purity was fear. Behind my guidance, the thirst of power. Now they are vanishing and I drift. I come, mother, I come. I in thy warm bosom, floating wheresoever thou takest me. In the voiceless, in the strange, in the wonderland, I come, a spectator, no more an actor. Look at the power of those lines. He tried to build an organization. He worked very hard. He was only 39. I can imagine. He was younger than me when he wrote these things, 37. And I know what I was at when I was 37, not even a fraction of his glory. But then, what I learned from this is that when we work in this world, all work is a bondage. That is the truth. Good work is good bondage, bad work is bad bondage. All work with sense of doership is a bondage only. And he writes, somewhere ambition took over the mission, that no, we should become the largest, biggest, or at least in my lifetime, I should see 1, 2, 3 things happen. Then love is a personality. I love because I like this person. He's affable, he's friendly, he's obedient, he's convenient. The other one is a troublemaker. Actually, in this, he writes to somebody who has been a troublemaker. So you love somebody and you don't love somebody. Then behind my purity was fear. What will others say? Let me behave. You don't behave because others are going to say something. You behave because that is what you are. And guidance is the thirst of power. See, many times we want to guide people because we want to have the control. And we don't want to teach them too much. Otherwise, we will lose control. You don't want to share all the trade secrets with them. Otherwise, they'll become smarter than you. Ask these musicians, they will tell you. Most of these musicians don't teach all the things to the others, maximum to their own son. Why? Because they are worried. If somebody else learns better and takes over my legacy, then what is going to happen to me? So he says that. And at the end he prays that, Mother, this is vanishing now. I've come here to do your work. But this is what happened. But I'm here. For somebody of that stature to put it on paper and let it remain as a record is a very big, bold decision, isn't it? Because people can read, misread, understand, misunderstand, interpret, misinterpret, whatever that. But where I learnt a lesson from is that it can happen to anybody. And there were moments when probably I would have slipped onto the wrong side of things. But these words ring in my ear. And that helps to come back. That is why lives of great men all remind us. They are reminders to us. So we learn from everybody. So the idea is that when Vivekananda thought of that woman as somebody who doesn't deserve his divine presence, the woman taught him a little lesson saying that, no, you are supposed to be equal-minded. You cannot treat me differently. For God is equal-minded. God doesn't treat anyone differently. That powerful idea of our scriptures. A wise one alone can accept everybody, the sinner and the saint, equally. But of course, he knows the difference between the two. It doesn't mean that he is going to overtly do things, unnecessarily do things. Now, what is needed to be done? Last time we saw whether he sees a rich man or a wise man or goes to a pilgrimage or to a temple or to another gender or whatever, his mind is not disturbed. He treats them appropriately. Appropriately is the word. So you treat them with respect and treat them appropriately. Next sloka is on page number 48, 64th. In a similar tone, he says, Sarvarambheshu nishkamo yascharet balavat munihi na lepastasya shuddhasya kriyamanepi karmani. Beautiful again it says, Sarvarambheshu nishkamo. All the undertakings of this wise person, of nishkama, the desireless person, how it is? Yat charet balavat munihi. Balavat, it's like children's play. His behavior is like that of a child. And he is a Muni. Muni because he is silent. Mauni is what is known as Muni, the one who is quiet. Quiet not from the outside, practicing silence. No. Inside is silent. No disturbances. That's the idea of silence. So inside of his is silent and undisturbed. Why? There are no desires behind his actions. Right? Nishkamo, no desire. Sarvarambeshu, though he undertakes a lot of initiatives. He starts a lot of initiatives, but he has no desire behind it. He is like a child doing things for the joy of it, for simply the fun of it. And he's a Muni because he's silent inside. Outside is obviously busy, but inside is silent. So this is the nature of the wise ones. What is the nature of the otherwise? Here he says, Na lepas tasya shuddhasya. For this shuddha, pure-hearted one, without any desire, na lepa. There is no bondage, there is no attachment, there is no smearing of karma to him. Who kriyamananepi karmani, though he undertakes action, all the kinds of actions, yet he is not bound by those actions. He is not affected by the results or the outcomes. He is free. Even though he does it with lot of interest, like a child does it. And if you see these children, especially those who play with sand on the beach, they make these castles and then they put a flag on top of it and then they make a moat around it, then they make tunnels through it. How busy they are, how intensely busy they are. 2 hours, great relief to the mothers. They're so busy playing, making those little things. Nowadays, and then what happens at the end of it all? It's dark and mother says, let's go home, it's getting dark. They jump on it, they damage it, smash it, and enjoy that also. Have you seen that part or not? They know very well that 2 hours of their effort to build this castle with such great interest is not going to last forever. In fact, they themselves will destroy it before they go back home. It's made of sand after all, it is not a permanent house. They also know it. Yet they spend so much time with so much of interest. That's very, actually very inspiring. You do things for the doing sake, for the joy of it. And you are not attached to it. You can even destroy it if it is not necessary. Or if that is a part of the thing. That is where Srishti, Sthiti, Laya is a play of divine. He creates, he sustains and he dissolves it. And no problem. That's why birth and death are not a problem. When Bhagwan's sister came and complained that her husband passed away, his reply was, if there is no birth and death, what am I going to do? How will I pass my time? Because God's nature is Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, creation, sustenance and dissolution. Dissolution is a part of the whole process. And he enjoys dissolution as much he enjoys creation. Who else does that? A child does that. Now, of course, there is no sand castles anymore. Now only Lego blocks are there everywhere. Name it and you have a Lego block. I was there abroad. I've seen people 10,000 pieces. Their progress in making Lego blocks is how many pieces block they have taken up. Not 200, 500,000. Too much, too small. 5,000 pieces, 10,000, 18,000 pieces. They make huge structures out of it. And they spend such amount of time with such. I always say this is better than watching the mobile, so it is good. At least they're creating something, they're applying their mind, they're busy. But it has become such a huge thing. It was an accidental company, this Lego block, by the way, the Lego company. But now it has become a huge success. And children make with so much of interest. I'm not sure whether they will love destroying it, but at least they make it with a lot of interest. Balavat nature is like a child. That's why all children are philosophers. All philosophers should be children. That's the idea, that they are so happy doing just for the doing sake, just for passing their time. And after that, they only destroy it and feel very happy about it. That is how a Jnani lives in this world. He's created it, so he cannot see its destruction. No, not necessary. If it goes down also, he's okay. Because he always knew this was impermanent. This was not permanent. He never insisted that it should stay forever. So a Balavat, they live like a child. See how many analogies you are getting. Yesterday we had a list of analogies. Balavat is another analogy, lives like a child. And therefore, even though he is busy undertaking new initiatives, starting new projects, doing new things, he is not touched by any of this. He is not attached, he is not bound by any of it. Yet he does it with great interest, because that is how Jnanis are, like the children. Bhagavad Gita's shloka is there. Napeksha shuchir daksha udasino gatavyatah sarvarambha parityagi, it says. He is the giver up, he gives up all the initiative. Sarvarambha parityagi. No, I said you are wrong interpreting it. If it was sarvarambha tyagi, I would accept that it was giving up all the initiation. But he is parityagi. He gives up something more than just giving up the action. He gives up the idea of I am the doer of this action. That is why it is parityaga and not just tyaga. So he is a sarvaramba parityagi. So when people ask me many times, somebody asks me, how do you get these ideas to do the next thing? I told it just comes to me. I don't sit and think, let me do this next. And now next what? Next 5-year plan, 10-year plan. When they ask me these plans, I said, I don't know. I only know what I have to do tomorrow or maybe a week later. Maybe a little more. Then how do you plan all this? How do you decide? I said, I don't plan, I don't decide. It comes. Now another fool who is not a jnani, what will think? Oh, so we don't have to plan, we don't have to decide, we don't have to prepare, we'll just go to the exam like that. Many people may misunderstand that. As I said, the coming shlokas will tell about such people who look at the jnani and think they're also jnani and try to copy them and get into trouble. If you're really a jnani, then there is no problem. Because you know what has come from that source, it's divinely ordained. It is not your doing. That is why the jnanis cannot have ego. For what reason? They were not the initiators, they were not the doers, they were not the achievers. They simply instrumented the cause. They can only feel blessed and humbled actually that we were used as an instrument of the divine. Somebody else also could have been used, but at least the opportunity was given to us. So they are humble. But Ajnanis, they get so excited about things. And after that, so arrogant and so possessive and so attached. It becomes their fiefdoms, their territories. They will not allow anybody. And then I was thinking, look at human beings. They wake up, they open their email, check how much money is in which account, where my investments are, what they are doing, how many properties, what is happening. That's what most of these people's ritual is this. First thing they wake up in the morning, open the phone and see their stock prices, see their portfolio value, see whether all the investments that they made are in place. That's all they do. It is not even in theirs in the first place. In the sense, it all belongs to God from that point of view. But they're so possessive about it. And like this dog marking his territory, they go on marking their territories too. Albeit through signatures and contracts and investment decisions, the registering of properties and things like that. But it is, for a jnani, it is equivalent to this dog marking his territory. That's how it is. He lives in somebody's house but marks it as if it is his. Same way, we live in God's house. This world is given by God. Yet we have our own territories and we are so vehemently, we defend it. We don't share, we don't give, we don't want to give anybody. It is mine, I earned it, it is my personal right. In US I see, get off my lawns, they keep shouting. The lawns are very important in the US. India we don't find too many lawns. But there everybody maintains their lawns. So outside the house there are nice big green lawns and they're very proud about it. Somebody gets onto their lawn, get off my lawns, get off my property, they shout. Very possessive. Is it not ignorance? Are they balavat? No, a child doesn't know these boundaries. That's why child can go anywhere and do anything. Most of the children in our H block you should see. I went there to somebody's house, they said, this girl, whatever I cook in home, she doesn't eat, she goes to the neighbor's home and eats. I told, that is what children are, don't stop them. Don't put rules saying that, hey, this is our house, this is my food, you are my child, you better eat here. No, let her go knock on the other door and ask for food. I am happy with that. Let her not feel this is our house and that is somebody else's house. Let the children be children. A jnani is like that. A sannyasi is like that, knocks on every door and has no shame. Because everybody is same. So where is the question of shame? So this is the idea of jnani. How beautiful, you have to understand how free that life must be. And how bound this life of ignorance is. Mine, this is my territory, this is my house, these are my people, this is my wealth. Nobody touches it, you are so aggressive about it. That is how we have divided ourselves into nations, into districts, into communities, into colonies, into households. And in households we have rooms. This is my room, you don't enter here. This new generation, very particular. My privacy is my right. You can't come in. Even the parents have to knock twice and only if the permission is given can they come in. Imagine the house belongs to parents who built it for them. You are living rent free. On top of that, you don't allow your parent to come inside unless and until they knock and in the name of courtesy, privacy, rights or whatever you call it. It has gone that far. It's so much of individualism. And that is why we are suffering. But a jnani does not know individuality. He only knows universality of things. So accepts everybody and that's why he is able to do any of these things. Yesterday I had an interview with an ETV Telugu people And they were asking me a lot of questions they asked, and I struggled talking in Telugu because I've lost the habit of talking in Telugu, you see. So somehow I managed first few sentences mumble jumbled, and then finally slowly it started flowing once you got warmed up. So he asked me the final question. So what is your biggest victory if you have to call yourself? Yedi mi pedda jayam ante enti? What is the biggest victory you had in 15 years? You achieved so much, this, that, all that stuff. That's how they talk. I know I haven't done that, but I explained to all that. Then he asked, what is your biggest achievement, biggest victory? And he would have thought I will tell the world's first free medical college, which is being touted around everywhere as something unique, right? Or something else, Annapurna, largest morning nutrition program or something like that. Or taking care of a bunch of 3,500, 4,000 difficult children. Don't even talk about the 100 countries and the devotees from there, how difficult each one of them are. But none of this was the true achievement. When he asked me, I thought, what could be the real achievement? I told the only achievement, the true victory, he used the word victory or jayam. I said the true victory for me is I won over myself, my limitations, my selfishness, my self-interests. I've conquered that. And because I've conquered that, I'm able to do all these things. Otherwise, I'll be thinking about my safety, my security, my income, my this, my that. It's not going to work. So I told, I think the only real achievement that I've had in 15 years, if it is personally mine, if you can attribute it that way, is that I could overcome my limitedness, selfishness, narrow-mindedness, self-centeredness, and could expand myself to this universal existence that all are ours. And everybody is mine. Everybody belongs to us. This idea is a great idea, you know. One beautiful song is there, Humko Man Ki Shakti Dena, जग विजय करे दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद की जय करे. Give me the strength, O Lord, that we may win over the world, but before we go and win over others, give us the strength to conquer ourselves. And that is the biggest challenge for all of us. Imagine the biggest victory one can ever claim to have had is when he conquered his own narrow-mindedness, selfishness, ignorance, and arrogance. That's when you are true victors. So that is the idea. These Gyanis have conquered all that. So they are truly the kings, real emperors, real kings. Not these who hold properties and wealth and so-called kingdoms, right? So think like that. Next sloka is 1865. La? Yeah, it's on page number 52, which says, स एव धन्य आत्मज्ञः सर्वभावेषु यः समः पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्नन् अश्नन् निस्तर्षमानसः. Who is the greatest person, he says? Who is the one who is dhanya, means who is so fulfilled, who is absolutely fulfilled in life, who is the greatest? So only the one who is atmagyaha, who knows the self, who knows the pure supreme consciousness, not the body and the mind. Such a person, sarvabhaveshu, in all situations he is disposed equally, equal-minded, equipoised. Yeah, samaha, he is the same in all situations. Praise him is the same, blame him is the same, give him is the same, take it away he is the same. Do something for him, good is same. Do harm to him is the same. Be a friend is the same, be an enemy is the same. Who is such a person? He is the ultimate, fulfilled, greatest person because he is the knower of the self. So he has no problem with anything. And in all activities, simple, ordinary activities like Pashyan, what he sees, Shrinvan, what he hears, Sprishan, what he touches, Jignan, what he smells, Ashnan, what he eats, Nistarshamanasaha, he has no attachment or desires in any of it. I should hear good things, eat good things, touch good things, smell good things, all the five senses. He has conquered all of them. Therefore, he is fulfilled in life. For such a person, you can't improve his quality of fulfillment by giving a better quality food, better quality of music, better quality of clothing, better quality of living. You cannot improve upon that. That is the idea of Purnamadaha Purnamida. Pidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Means that is full, this is full. To add something to fullness is also full. To remove something from fullness also it will be full. So you can't change these people's quality of life and happiness by adding a few material things or removing from them also. Both ways they're okay. I keep telling our students who are living with me, if I have something extra, it teaches me. Whom can I give this? Because people think, hey, keep another one. Who knows, you might need some point in time. But I think, why I need this? Somebody might be needing it. Ask somebody who needs a phone, somebody needs a watch, somebody who needs any other thing. Just give it away. Why should I store? I don't like things locked up in cupboards. It irritates me. So unless I give it up, then they say, now you give it up, now yours has gone bad, now you're asking for one. You should have kept one. I said, okay, when I need one, it will come to me. And every time I need something, even before I make up my mind I need it, it just comes. This is why I tell, believe in that power of that divine in the universe. It just comes to you. It just comes to you because you are selfless. And you become the responsibility of the divine, not your personal responsibility. God takes your responsibility. And everything that happens is perfect in that plan. You have no problem. That we had a small plane with which we were flying around US because it's too many places, 20 cities. Then in one place it so happened, that was in Cincinnati, that the plane did not take off. Some technical error happened and they didn't discover it till we reached the airport. Now imagine, we just reached the airport and they tell us there's a technical error in the place, it won't fly to Chicago now. Then what do we do? No, you wait, we'll try to get another plane. This plane will have to be sent back, this, that. How much time will take? I don't know, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, depends on where the next plane is. So I looked at our people, this Ramesh and Jayanti were there, and their son Harsha was there. I said, what do we do now? So we have two choices, wait for the next plane or go by road. And the road is a drive which will take few hours, 5, 6 hours. So I said, oh, that's okay, we will go by road then. And I tell you, none of the plane journeys I enjoyed as much I enjoyed the road journey. Because I went on looking at those vast wheat fields, beautiful landscapes. It's so beautiful, the Midwest. Hariharanjani's one ghazal is there, ऐसा कोई मंजर होता मेरे कांधे पर तेरा सर होता. But in that one stanza comes, इस बुलंदी पे बहुत तन्हा हूँ, काश मैं सबके बराबर होता. On this peak of achievements, I am too lonely. I wish I was just an ordinary man equal to everybody. That is how people on top think. And people at the bottom think, why am I not there on top? So we could order, they made fresh, we ate on the way, we talked, we chatted. Of course, slightly tiring compared to just a quick plane ride, but it was a joyful journey. So the idea is that, okay, circumstances change now. How do you do? What do you do? No, you can't just get angry and jump on everybody and say, how could this happen to you? It's nobody's fault. You can sue the company or whatever for not taking off or ask for a refund. All that is later. But what do you do now? Like a river, find your way around. Don't fight with the mountain. Find your way around and you will continue to the ocean. Your goal is to reach the ocean, not to fight with obstacles on the way. And there is no ego, oh, I couldn't overcome this mountain, this thing didn't move, what a shame. No, river just goes around, gravity goes to wherever it needs. And that's why river twists and turns. There is no straight lines for rivers. Life is like that, it's never a straight line. It will take you through turns and twists. But if you are a river, you will still flow. If you are not, you will become a pond, stagnate and stink with ego. If you are a river, egoless, you will find your way out and you will flow. And you will also help so many on the way. That is the idea, egolessness of these people, because they are the knower of the self. That's why in whatever they do, they have no desires. Their manasa, nishtarsha manasaha, it means free from any thirst or any craving or any desire. Their minds are ever free. It had to be this way. Why it is not this way? Not like that. Okay, if it couldn't be that way, let us do it this way. But you said it that way. I said, so what? Situations have changed. What will people think? What will people say? Let them think and say situations have changed. We have to do what is right now. So that ability to adjust, ability to recalibrate yourselves, and ability to do the things differently, it comes only to the Atmagyanis. The fools cannot do it. They get stuck and then they struggle and they fight and they rebel and all that. They never move. They get stagnated and they die. So that is the whole idea of those people with this state of mind. Next sloka is 66, page 53. He says, Kva sansara, kva chabhasaha, kva sadhyam, kva cha sadhanam, akashasyeva dhirasya nirvikalpasya sarvada. Beautiful analogy, one more analogy for everyone. It is called akasha, means space. Akasha is not sky, it is space. Like the space, these dhiraha, the discriminating one, remain always nirvikalpa, means without any distortions, without any disturbances. How? Like the space remains untouched by all that which happens within it. For such people, kva samsaraha, where is the world? Kva cha abhasa, where are all these experiences? Kva sadhyam, what is there to be achieved? Kva cha sadhana, what is the process to be achieved? The idea is that for in the worldly parallels, everything has to be achieved. There is a process to be achieved. 1, 2, 3. You want a degree, study for 12 years, 15 years, then you get a degree. You want a job, go apply for job, get the skills required for it. You want to reach a place, find a ticket for the plane and then find a hotel, go there. So everything has a process. Whereas for these people who are already established in that self, where is the process? Where is something to be achieved? They are so fulfilled. So what do they, don't they achieve things? We also achieve things. We build hospitals, schools. There is a process to that also. So does it not apply to the Jnani? Yes, but it does not change him on the inside, doesn't disturb him on the inside. That is the idea, that the process does not apply to him. Because he is always undisturbed. See, what is the ultimate achievement? What is the ultimate goal of human life? Dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Freedom. Freedom from ourselves, our own limitedness. These jnanis are already free. So what is the process to become free? I'm like, you are not bound by a jail, you are not bound by you are not in a lockup, nobody has put a lock on your door. Then you are asking me, how can I be free? Nothing you have to do, you are already free. Remember that Dhobi's donkey, the washerman's donkey, who thinks he is bound, but he is free. And only Dhobi acts as if he is removing the knots and rope from around his neck. And then the donkey feels, now I am free. Whereas he was never bound in the first place, but thinks he is bound. So like that, these jnanis are always free. They know they are free. You are also free, you don't know. I don't want to call you Dhobi's donkey, but something like that. You think you are bound. Bound by what? I and mine. This is me, this is mine. This is all the bondages. And once you get out of it, you are not bound at all. You are free. Nobody can stop you from whatever you wish to do. You wish to do means you are inspired to do. Nobody can stop you from. Nobody can tell you this is right, don't do, or do this, this is wrong, don't do that. Who can tell you? You are free. Swachanda mukta bandhana. You are free, free of all bondages. That is the idea of these beings. So for such people, where is the world? Where is no world? Whatever comes is fine. There are friends, okay. There are no friends, okay. There are enemies, okay. There are no enemies also is fine. So they are okay with anything. That the ability to be okay with everything comes only to the wise people. All others are not okay with things. It has to be this way, it can't be this way. Now you may say, but you put too many conditions in our institutions everywhere. That is not for me. Because if you also have become a jnani, that is why I said, don't super imagine that you also already have become that. No, you have not become that, so there is a process. For these people who have become that, there is no process. Somebody wrote to me, you are saying everybody is divine, why we need to read all these scriptures, we will believe that we do. I told, really do you believe? No, don't say theoretically, aham Brahma. Are you really able to believe? Are you able to live according to that belief? Are you that selfless? Are you that pure compassion? Are you that pure love still? No, then don't simply theoretically repeat like a parrot. That doesn't take you anywhere. You teach a parrot to repeat, I am king, I am king, I am king. So the parrot will become king. No, you don't understand, you don't experience it, you don't actually live that feeling, then you cannot say I am already there. You are not there. This is your imagination. Yes, scriptures say you are divine. That's why Swami Vivekananda is very careful. You are potentially divine. There is a potential in you to be pure divinity, but that potential is yet to be realized. Somebody who becomes a cricketer, he was a potential cricketer when he was a kid, but he took some process to become a full cricketer. Likewise, we are potentially divine till we have reached that stage. Once you reach that stage, what is the process? You can't tell that jnani, do this, don't do that. Everything is okay for the jnani. That's why I said in love and war, everything is fair, they say, right? So I say in love, war and wisdom, everything is fair. Somebody who is wise, none of his actions, even though judged from the worldly point of view as wrong or right, to him there is nothing called wrong and right. That is why everything is either right, everything wrong, whichever way you put it. For that person, there is no difference. It's another level of freedom which cannot be comprehended by the ordinary. This is what Ashtavakra is saying. He is like space, untouched. Wind happens, space does not change. Wind comes and goes, clouds come and go, sun rises and sets, fire, forest fire happens. The air becomes hot, the air becomes humid, the air becomes whatever other things. The space does not change. You understand, space is a subtler element than air. Before this auditorium was built, it was an open ground. There was only the space existed. Now we put walls and roof, it's called an auditorium. Auditorium is a new thing, but has the space changed is the idea. Space hasn't changed. Now if suppose instead of this auditorium I would have built, let us say, a public toilet or a crematorium. Crematorium has a different function, public toilets have a different function, and a bhajan hall is a different function. People say bhajan hall is such a sacred space. Crematorium is a horrible space. Toilets is a terrible space. But space did not become less or more. The functioning of the buildings has changed, because of which you attribute sacredness to it or dirt to it or filth to it. But space per se has remained untouched. Now, where does this space exist? It exists everywhere. It's there in every cell of our body. Everything is space only, no? Those who know a little bit of science, you know we are all made of atoms. Do you know? Yeah, and atoms are made of nucleus, electrons, and then you have protons and all that. Then you break the nucleus, you have subatomic particles. You break them, now new particles are being discovered, God particle and all kinds of things. So the more we are breaking the matter, the more space we are finding. I read somewhere, if you think of the nucleus of an atom as the size of a football, that is this size, then the first electron will be found 15 kilometers away. That much space exists between just the nucleus, which is denser portion, versus the orbitals, where the electrons are floating around. And now the uncertainty principle clearly states, all matter is, energy, the wave equation. Schrodinger's. You can't even put a finger and say this is where that electron is. It disappears. Next moment it becomes a wave, particle wave issues. You don't know. So if you really carefully analyze, we are all spaces only. We are not matter. But we are all solid. Wood is solid, this is solid, this has metal property, this has a wood property, this skin is a biological thing. How does it all happen? Deep down we are all atoms only. But the atoms combine with each other and form different kinds of things, and they have a different functionality. But even in the atoms there is only space, they are saying. But how do we still remain solid? Because of the forces that exist. 4 kinds of forces is there. Weak nuclear, strong nuclear, electromagnetic and gravitational. This keeps all the atoms in certain distance, and you can't crush the space and squeeze the space because of that. That is the maximum you can bring 2 electrons closest to each other, or closest to the nucleus. Beyond that, the forces will repel them. So, it's the forces within the space they are holding as a solid beings. Otherwise, we are just spaces walking around. If you think a little deeply, that's what we are. The whole world is illusion. That's coming in the next shloka. If a scientist sees all of us, what will he see? All spaces, atoms moving around. A nuclear scientist sees that all these are atoms, protons and subatomic. That's what is happening. Oh, this lady has a little more atoms. She has that man has fewer atoms. That's all he'll think. But more than that, where is the question of us existing as real beings? We are spaces. So think like that. What I'm saying, the Jnani sees like that. Think of that. Everybody is same, made of the same thing. Little lesser or more, but the quality is same, quantities may be other. So that is the idea. These Jnanis are seeing something else. When others are only seeing the buildings, Jnani sees the space. And says space is same. Tomorrow if I change this, I said make it into a mortuary of the hospital, let us say, instead of Premamritam. Will it become any less sacred is the question. Maybe from worldly point of view, oh, this is a terrible state, they are storing dead bodies now. But to the space, okay, doesn't matter, it doesn't have any problem with anything. So these are amazing ideas, concepts which have been told. For such a person, where is attachment, where is detachment? Where is something to be achieved, where is some process to be achieving that? He is like a space, untouched, undisturbed, unaffected, unmodified by anything that happens within it. So that is the beauty of a Jnani's life. That's why they can adjust with anything and live in a very peaceful way, despite whatever the differences or difficulties the external world gives. And there are three kinds of spaces. Again, I've spoken about it earlier: the Bhutakasha, the physical space; the Chittakasha, the mental space. See, our thoughts are also existing somewhere, right? Like the software exists somewhere. Hardware we can make out, that is our body. But software also exists somewhere. It is a program. But where does it exist? It exists in a subtle way in the system. Once we load the software, we don't know where it exactly exists. It exists everywhere because it is running the whole process of the computer. So it exists. Like that, mind has a space called Chittakasha, within which all our thoughts, emotions, and other things exist. And beyond that is this consciousness, Chidakasha, it says. That Chidakasha is all permeating consciousness. So these are the three kind of spaces that our scriptures talk about. Chidakasha is the physical space in which all the organs and everything exist. Chittakasha is the mental space in which our thoughts and emotions exist, irrespective of the size and shape of the bodies. And Bhutakasha is physical, Chittakasha. Chidakasha is the ultimate consciousness in which everything exists. That knowledge, like I mentioned, even in the atoms, there are forces. And each force knows how much of it should be available there inside the atom to keep the size and shape of the atom intact, to make objects out of them. It exactly knows. Look at every tree, every plant, every flower is different, every fruit is different. The citrus fruits, sweet fruits, bitter fruits. And all these are properties of the same atoms inside. So everything is made of that space. So whose property is this? Is the property of the space. So remove the bitterness, sweetness, everything, and break down to the subatomic level. You will find only space, and space is untouched by whether the fruit is bitter or sweet or whatever happens at the end. It remains the same. So that is the whole idea of a Jnani's life, that he is like space, untouched, unaffected by all the external circumstances. Next sloka is 67, page number 57. It says, Sajayati artha sannyasi purna swarasa vigraha akritrimo anavachinne samadhir yasya vartate. The concept of samadhi again comes back here. Sajayati artha sannyasi. Sajayati, he is the victorious one. Who? Artha sannyasi. Just now I mentioned. What is your greatest victory? You conquered yourself. That is your greatest victory. Artha sannyasi. He has no desires. Artha means some desire, some objective. No objectives, no desires. Sannyasi has given up the attachment to that desire. So, Sajayati, that alone is victorious, that person alone who has given up desire for things. All others are slaves, all others are bound only. They are not free, so they are not victory. Because the king is always free, right? Nobody can tell king what to do. King does his thing. The slaves have to listen to the king. So, he is a victorious king, he is an emperor who has given up all the desires, because nobody can enslave such a person. He is ever free. Purna swarasa vigraha, he is complete, purna. As I mentioned, you can't add to his happiness, you can't reduce his happiness. And swarasa vigraha, another beautiful adjective. Swa means self, rasa means essence or the joy. Vigraha means embodiment. He is the embodiment of his own self joy. He doesn't need anybody to make him joyful. He is happy by himself, like children. And how is this happiness? Complete. Always. Not that Monday is happy, Saturday is not happy because situations change. No, nothing changed in him. Purna swarasa vigraha. How beautiful that word is. And akritrimo, he is unartificial or he is natural. He is spontaneous. He doesn't live artificially, pretentious lives. No, he doesn't pretend. Lives a very spontaneous, natural, like children, they'll call spade a spade. That's why I'm very scared of these children. I keep telling, when we have to do this Annaprashna, they bring these children to me, they bring some little bit of sweet or something to feed them, like milk or pudding or something like the rice pudding. But these children have not eaten since last 6 months, they were only on breast milk or some milk-like food. So first time you put some food into their mouth as a part of a ritual to initiate them into solid food. It's a part of our Shodash samskaras. We have 16 samskaras from birth to death. Annaprashna is one of the samskara, when we introduce the child to the external food. When you give them this, they spit it back on my face. They don't like it. Not every child likes sweet, right? Some people like spicy things. But generally we make sweet to feed the child. So what I do, I try with water first. I fool them into thinking that I'm only feeding water, which they know. Then I slowly put the rice into their mouth. Patak, comes out next moment. They don't like it. Can any one of you afford to do that to me? The grown up ones, even if you don't like what I have served, you'll cry but you'll eat. At least you'll spit it later, not in front of me. You are all pretentious. The child is free. It doesn't care who is standing in front of me. I don't like it, I don't like it. That's it. No mannerisms, etiquette, be polite, be courteous. Nothing applies to the child. Child is himself, herself, whatever it is. Child is itself. So these people are kritrimo. They don't lead artificial lives, trying to please people, do ego massaging, trying to get things for themselves. So they go and do all kinds of things. No, they don't. They're spontaneous people, anavachinne, and their spontaneity is unbroken. It's not that some days they are, came for a meditation session, suddenly they become spontaneous yanis. Next day they're back to the world, back to the old habits. Spontaneously and unbroken spontaneity in their life. Always they are themselves. They are not changing themselves. Then samadhi yasya vartate. Who are these people? The people who are always in samadhi, in unbroken samadhi. Samadhi, if you break the word, it is sama, means equal, and dhi, if you can loosely break it, dhi means your disposition, your mind, your intellect. It is always equal. That's why sukha, dukkha, samay krutva, all the happiness, joys, victory, losses, they are equal. That idea is only again in Indian scripture of this equanimity and equipoise and equal mindedness. It's not found other places. Very unique to us. Because Atma Jnana is unique to us, so obviously Samadhi is unique to us, so also Samadarshana is unique to us. That is the beauty of our scriptures. So what it says, Samadhi yasya vartate, the one who is always in Samadhi, unbroken Samadhi, for such a person, there is no desire, he is always full of his own joy. You don't need to make him more joyful by adding anything to the person. Now this Samadhi is a very risky word. Yesterday also I was going, Dimitris was asking me about Samadhis. So I told you that generally we know of three kinds of Samadhis. One Samadhi is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, means you slip into the state of thoughtlessness. Samadhi is basically a higher state of your thoughtlessness, where good, bad, two kinds of things don't exist. There is one continuous, spontaneous state of existence which is totally thoughtless, something like deep sleep. In deep sleep also you have no thoughts. In dreams you have thoughts. But in deep sleep you have no thoughts, you are absolutely rested. But the only thing, the problem is that in deep sleep you are not aware that you are such and such person. You have lost that idea. But in Samadhi, it's like you are awake yet you have no thoughts. It happens like Nirvikalpa Samadhi, even in Tripura Rahasya it is said. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is like suddenly you become in a state of shock. That is also Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Like you got to know of a very bad news. Your son met with an accident and died. But that shocking news, she shakes you and you suddenly go into a state of no thought. But that is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi because you didn't choose to go there. You didn't put efforts to go there. It just happened like that because of situations. Ramakrishna Paramsa will get into Samadhi of spiritual nature when he would see a flock of cranes flying across a dark cloudy sky. And he would just go into a reverie and go into the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Without his choice, without his efforts, he'll just effortlessly go to that. And then what will happen? He'll lose his control over the body because mind has suddenly detached from the body. And he'll fall off. Many times he has broken limbs. And then he would say, he will ask for gulab jamun. Because only when you put something on his tongue, can he come out of that samadhi. Something to disturb that spontaneity of his mind which is lost now. So bring that mind back, he would ask for something. So everybody knew the trick. Even while talking, he will be talking about some great concept, and that concept will shift him into the state of samadhi, will become thoughtless and lose the control over his speech, body, everything. And then somebody has to put a little sweet on his tongue to bring him back to normal state. Generally, we eat sweet to go to samadhi, right? Ah, what a sweet bliss. But these people have to come back to earth, they have to eat a sweet. They are in other states. So Ramakrishna was like that. But Nirvikalpa Samadhi's problem is what? First of all, you don't know when it is coming. And if it suddenly comes, you lose control over everything that you have. The physical control goes away. So you are suddenly, lost all moorings. That is Nirvikalpa. Of course, it's a very blissful state because like deep sleep is a very blissful state. When you come out of deep sleep, you are very, very refreshed. Even if for 5 minutes you sleep deep sleep, it is more refreshing than 1 hour, 10 hours of sleep with REM or whatever, with dreams. That's called Yoga Nidra. That's why Yoga Nidra is deep sleep. You quickly go into that without going through all the cycles of light sleep, REMs and things like that, and then come out quickly. That's why these yogis don't sleep for too long, because they don't need to. That much time re-energizes them. So deep sleep. So these people that slip into samadhi, that is nirvikalpa samadhi. Then we have a savikalpa samadhi, where you put efforts. Why Ashtanga yoga you have, no? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. You practice all the proper things, then slowly, gradually grow in your spiritual stature, and finally you reach a stage when you can hold on to your mind in one place with one thought, and slowly you hold it longer and longer and longer, and slowly the thought disappears and you lose yourself into the state of samadhi. That is the other way. It's a very blissful and joyful state, because there are no vagaries. Whenever we are not having any vagaries of mind, chitta vritti nirodhayaha, it says, when vagaries are gone, immediately we attain peace. That is the other thing. One more samadhi is there, but these two samadhis are of no use, because whenever you are in this samadhi, you are non-functional. You can't walk, you can't talk, you can't do a thing. Somebody has to do it for you. And some of these sages slip off into this samadhi unknowingly, unaware, and go off into this for 2 days, 3 days. And somebody has to clean them, because their body is functioning, is passing whatever, stool, urine, and things like that. Somebody has to look after them. They cannot do a work during the samadhi. Like while you are sleeping, you can't do anything. Savikalpa samadhi also there. By choice you can go into that, and by choice you can come out of it also. But while you are in it, you are dysfunctional. You are only sitting in one place or lying down, whatever you are doing. The third is Sahaja Samadhi. You are not in that lost state of being. You are completely aware of who you are as a consciousness, yet you are functional, you are acting in the world. That is called Sahaja Samadhi or Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means freedom from the bondage of I and mine. Jivana means all this mine, I, mine. And from that you are free. So it's like Sahaja Samadhi is all the time there, but we are not aware of it. Like you are a boy. Do you have to specially remind yourself you are a boy? Do you have to do meditation and tell, yes, I am a boy? And no, by being a boy, you are a boy. By being a girl, you are a girl. You don't need, but you don't remember it all the time. Do you keep reminding yourself, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, I'm a boy? No, not necessary. Then you become, the boy becomes the student, boy becomes future teacher, boy becomes a husband, boy becomes a son, boy becomes a brother, boy becomes a friend, depending on whom the boy is interacting with. The same boy becomes many, but in every of those interaction, though now we call him a student or a teacher or a son or a brother or uncle or a father or grandfather or a grandson, boy does not go away, right? Boy remains, but changes many forms. Likewise, consciousness is there in all of us, and that is why we are seeing, eating, breathing, walking, talking, even getting angry or getting happy. Everything is because of that consciousness, but we aren't aware of it. If we become aware of it, then we are in Sahaja Samadhi. If you are not aware of it, then we are into ignorance. So these jnanis are how they are completely aware. All the time they are aware that they are the consciousness, yet they act in the world. Like an actor is always aware who he really is. He may have put on the makeup of, let's say, Ravana. But he knows inside that I am not Ravana, I am this particular student of this class. Right now I am acting like Ravana. This is what Sahaj Samadhi is like. You are always aware who you are the pure Atman, yet you know I am teacher, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a good person, I am a bad person, all that is on the outside. That Samadhi is the superior kind, they say, compared to these two Samadhis. Sahaja Samadhi or Jivan Mukti. Because then you are also useful to others. Otherwise, others have to look after you. So that is the idea, that this person is always in that spontaneous Samadhi. Which Samadhi? Sahaja Samadhi. Natural. That's why Akritrima also means Sahaja. So if you put all the three words together, it will be Akritrimo Anavachinne Samadhi. Means he is in the Sahaja Samadhi on a spontaneous and continuous basis. Never for a moment he loses the sight of who he or she really is. I am Atman. That thought never goes away. That feeling never goes away. With that, they act like an actor on the stage, puts on the costume, does his job, goes back, but never loses the memory of who that person is. Like that, these people live in the world. That's why they are unaffected by all these other things that happen around them. They are so very deeply engrossed in their self, yet they are functional. See, that is why Atmaradi, Atma Krida, Kriyavan, Esha Brahma Vidam Varishtham, says Upanishads. Why? They are Atma Krida, Atmaratihi. When they are closing their eyes, they're lost in that self. When they're opening their eyes, they're playing with the self. Krida. Whole world is a krida for them, a play. Like actor on the stage is acting, is a part of a play. That's Atma Krida. Atmaratihi, when he takes off all the makeup and sits in the backstage, he is in himself Atmaratihi. And then Kriyavan, always busy. They are not lazy people, they are not escapists. They don't want to hide from the world into some caves and not deal with this terrible ignorant world. No, they're okay. They're roaming around just like any one of us. They don't have special any wings or halos around them. They're just like us. So that is, but their internal is very different from how we are. The next shloka is 68. It says, Bahunatra kimuktena gyatat tattvo mahashayaha bhoga moksha nirakangshi sada sarvatra nirasaha. Again, the idea of not having desires. He says, Bahunam atra kimuktena. Bahuna means in many words, in many ways. Kimuktena, what is there to say? Once Gyata Tattva Mahashaya, the one who knows the Tattva, who has known the self, that great one, where is the words? Where are the words to speak about him or for him to speak about anything? That's why they say when you are full of joy, there are no words, When you are very contented, the highest form of joy or highest form of any emotion is, you can't express it in words. Only lower emotions you go on with the prattle. But either very really deeply emotional, either you are sad or happy, words don't come out. You choke. That is how these samadhi people are, Why should I speak unnecessarily? Was it necessary? They don't. So when sometimes we don't understand them because they don't express it all the time. So we don't know what's going on and then we interpret it wrongly sometimes. Their silence is misunderstood. But they're silent because they don't feel the need for it, and what should they speak about? Bhoga moksha nirakangshi sada sarvatra nirasaha. They appear to be disinterested, nirasaha. As if they're not interested in thing. Whatever comes, okay. Whatever comes, okay. So you expect them to get excited now and then get depressed next time when they hear the bad news. But they don't. They remain the same. So sometimes they appear as nirasaha, as if they're disinterested or not enjoying things, they're boring, they're cold. All these ideas, the fools think of them like that. They are not like that really. They're at peace, that's all. And who are they? Bhoga moksha nirakangshi. They neither desire for bhoga, enjoyment, nor for moksha, freedom. Nirakangshi, they have no desire. Many people will say, so then should we not desire for moksha? You are all the time telling, have desire for moksha and nobody else. I said, yes, you should have desire for moksha. Till you have attained it, you should desire for it. But once you reach this state, this desire also disappears. Right? You want to reach Chikbalapura. Till you reach Chikbalapura, you have a desire. Once you reach Chikbalapura, can you say, I want to reach Chikbalapura? No, you are already in Chikbalapura, you'll say. Like Samadhi, you are already free. What are you asking for? I want to be free, I want to be free. That's why I told the other person who said, why am I not able to declare that I am divine and remain like that? I said, because you have not practiced certain things. You need a guru still. Means the question was, why you need a scripture? Why we need anybody? We are already that, isn't it? But do you realize that is the question? You don't realize that. Therefore you need a guru, therefore you need a scripture. And what is the whole process? It's not about becoming something. It's about unbecoming. You are already that. But you have put on so many layers and layers and layers of artificial personalities. All that have to be shed. Then what remains is you. It's your true you. After the teacher goes away, after the father goes away, after the grandfather goes away, after the wife goes away, what remains is the person. Not the husband, not the student, not the father, not the grandson. So that is the idea. These people, bhoga no. So if you say, I don't want to be a husband, I want to be a man. People say, what kind of ask is that? You are already a man. That is why you were a husband in the first place. That is the idea. I want moksha, I want moksha. He said, you are already free. What are you asking for? No, I am a bound person. That is your imagination. No, let's drop all those imaginations that you are bound. What is the imagination? All the desires and all these things. These are all necessary for my happiness. Without them, I can't be happy. These are your imaginations, he says. You will be the happiest when you have none of these desires. But once you have a desire, that desire becomes the reason for your happiness or sorrow. But you have no desire, you are ever happy. So actually, what is the way to think? We are supposed to be ever happy. And when a desire comes, what happens? then our happiness changes into unhappiness. If there was no desire, we will always be happy. But you'll say, no, when I wake up, I'm not happy. Because you have woken up with some past vasanas, karmas, samskaras, desires of yours, which you may not know, but you have them hidden inside. That's why you don't wake up happy. But a child wakes up happy because he's forgotten what he did yesterday, with whom he played, with whom he fought. Like children, they fight with each other, no? And then next day they want to play. But the mothers who have seen the fight and they have fought over their fight, they cannot allow their children to play again. The children are like, no, I have no problem with that fellow. Oh yes, he beaten me yesterday. I once went to this, our block, H block is a very dynamic place. So all these children, so this fellow has beaten up the other fellow. Now parents become upset that, how could your son beat my son like that? Okay, all that happened. Next day they both are playing, but the parents are not talking to each other. The children have no problem. Ulta, the children have a problem now that the parents are not letting them play together. So these people are like that. They are desireless like children. Therefore, they have no problem with anything. So that's why you would even see that glimpses sometimes. Now, I might scold you today. Tomorrow I will just talk to you so lovingly. You will wonder what happened. Yesterday was like this. Today is like this. Hot, cold. But I have no problem with that. If I had done anything out of a wrong intention, then only I will be guilty and not able to look into your eyes and deal with you the next day. If I have not done it out of any wrong intention, then where is the question of me feeling bad or good or guilty about it and not able to see you next day? I have scolded people, you know that, right? All the devatas are like that, right? Everybody has weapons. At least I don't carry a weapon. Be thankful. Look at everybody. Shiva is sitting with a Trishula. The Durga has 8 hands with 8 weapons. Vishnu, Chakra, Gada. If this fails, at least another one will go. If he's close by, give Gada. If he runs away, release the Chakra. All gods are shown with weapons. Why? Because some corrections are necessary. In Hindi they say, लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. Some people need the discipline. They don't listen to you when you speak to them nicely. But then am I guilty next day? I can't look into their eyes and I can't talk to them. No. But I didn't do it with my personal irritation or judgment or cruel intentions. Not at all. That is why I can again be friends and talk to everybody. And the other person will be wondering how to face him. But I have no problem. I can come back and talk to you again as if nothing happened. This is the life of a Jnani. They are not bound by any of these ideas because they were not their ideas in the first place. So they were always free, as if they forgotten what happened yesterday. Like children forget, we fought yesterday, we forgot today. So Jnanis are like that. So people misunderstand them because of their behavior. They think, oh, this fellow has no spine, no understanding, no personality. But they are the real people. All others are pretentious, artificial. They are the natural and the real people, like children. So remember that, and this I think should do for this shloka, that they do not have these ideas of, as I said, bhoga and moksha. I need to enjoy the world or I need to run away from the world. Both don't exist. Whatever comes to them, they eat, they enjoy, or whatever, they live through it, and they are not attached by it. They don't desire, tomorrow also I want to have this, day after also I want to have this. No, today we got it, tomorrow we don't get it, it's fine. Many times, I travel to many people's homes. They want to give me good food, they want to give me whatever I like and things like that. They bring. And then I don't eat all of it because I am used to eating and I have eaten it enough, I have no desire for it. So I'll take a little. Then they think, oh, maybe we didn't cook it properly, maybe it was not done with devotion. They start imagining. I said, no, don't imagine so much. I'm not eating because I have no desire to eat it. It's not that I don't want to eat. It's not that you didn't cook it properly, your devotion is any less. Nothing like that. Please don't over imagine. It is just that I don't have the appetite for it. I don't have desire for it. If I need, I will eat it. So leave it to me, whatever I want to do. So that is the thing. Otherwise, all my plates after my food gets over is like scanned by the lady of the house. Which curry he ate. Oh, this is not cooked by us. This was by the neighbor. He ate that curry. He didn't eat my curry. So we know this, like always on his toes. No, eat a little of this, eat a little of this, eat a little of this. I tell Vinod, you eat the rest. So that nobody knows how much I have eaten. You get my point? When you are attached to a thing, such a joyful event like, oh, Swami came home, we served him, becomes a misery. He didn't eat what I cooked. So all these issues we should not have. Just be free. That's what I keep saying. Whatever comes our way, let it be. Next, last sloka I'll take for today, 1869. which says, Mahadadi Jagadvaitam Nama Matra Vijrambitam Vihaya Shuddha Bodhasya Kim Krityam Avashishyate. He says, Mahadadi. Mahat means the first creation. From the Brahman came the Ishvara. That stage is called Mahat, where the mind started. Which mind? Cosmic mind started. See, before that Brahman, there was no mind. Brahman was just a state of existence, pure consciousness. When Brahman thought, let me create, that first thought changed the property of Brahman from non-thinking to the thinking Brahman, the Nirguna to Saguna. So the first manifestation is called Mahat. So he says, Mahat Adi, the one which was right in the beginning called Mahat, to Jagat, which is now the final end of the evolution where the physical world came into existence. From that beginning, cosmic beginning to the present time, Nama Matra, Vijrambitam, these are all names only. These are all expansions of the same thing called in different ways. Like gold becomes jewelry, different types of ornaments. So the Jnani looks at like that. Oh, these are all different names to the same thing. What was called Mahat is the same Jagat, not different. Jagat looks different than Mahat to the ordinary eyes. But to the Jnani, it is the same thing. So they have no problem. These are all namesake, we call them by different ways. Vihaya Shuddha Bodhasya. So he gives up this idea of names. And Kim Krityam Avishishyate, having attained the purity, Shuddha Bodha, pure understanding of what? All is one. It appears different, we call it by different names, but at the end, all is just one and the same. That Shuddha Bodha, pure understanding of this person, what does it do? Kim Krityam Avashishyate. What is there for such a person to do? What is the person there for such a person to achieve? That is the idea. Like you want to achieve yourself. What do you mean by you want to meet yourself? What do you mean by that? You are yourself. You are always in yourselves. How can you meet yourself separately? You meet somebody, you have to go out and meet. You are yourself. That is the idea. That you are looking for something outside you which doesn't exist. Everything is you. So Mahat to Jagat, from the cosmic creative force to the whole creation, everything is one and the same to this Jnani. It appears to be different for the namesake, we call it by different names. Like bangle, ring, chain, bracelet, armlet, all these are different items made of same gold. The Jnani sees gold only. This was gold before it was a bangle. Before that maybe it was a chain too. After that it was melted. So he only sees the gold. Like the jeweler. Go to him with all kinds of ornaments. He is not enticed by your ornaments. He weighs it. How much gold is that? And accordingly tests the purity and gives you a price. That's all it is. For him shapes don't matter. So Jnani is like that. For him these shapes, your achievements, your great accolades, your great ideas don't matter. He only sees your inside, which is the consciousness. And therefore the Jnani is same to you. So what is there for this person to achieve? Nothing to achieve. Why? Because he has already achieved everything. He knows that through which he knows everything. And therefore for him there is nothing called achievement. Next one is shloka number 70. It's on page number 65, which says, Brahmabhutam idam sarvam kinchin na asti iti nishchayi alakshasya spurna shuddha svabhave naiva shamyati. Which means, Brahmabhutam idam, all this is illusory. He sees it as shadows. He sees it as illusions, like a magic show. The magician pulls out a rabbit from his hat, next a bird, next so many currency notes. That's the most interesting part of the magic show. Now, who wants a rabbit and a thing like dollars? Imagine if Chhattisgarh will go for these magic shows, It's called Mela, like Jatre and all that. So there one magician will be there. 2 rupees ticket you have to pay to enter the magic show first of all. There he is doing magic and pulling out US dollars. If he really was producing US dollars, why will be charging 2 rupees to us? So child will get excited. Oh, look, that is US dollars. It's much more expensive, much more valuable. The parent would say, quiet, don't get too excited. If it was real dollars, why would he be standing there and selling 2 rupees tickets to all of us to survive? It's not real. It's illusory, appears to be real. That is the way Jnani looks at the world, like a magic show. It's an illusion. Remember rope and snake example? You think it is a snake and get scared. But actually it's only a rope. In the dark it looks like a snake. So that is the problem. Jnani knows this is only a rope, this is not a snake. So he is not emotional about it. And Ajnani sees the snake and just gets scared and runs away. right? So that is the idea, that he sees it differently, he sees something else, whereas the fools see it differently. So he says, for such a person, kinchit na asti iti nishchayi. He is confirmed in his idea that nothing of this is real. None of this is real. It doesn't exist according to him. It's like a dream. In dream, nothing exists for real. In dream, you can become a king. But when you wake up, you are not a king anymore. You can't demand that I should be king because I was a king in the dream. You wake up and tell, oh, that was a dream and I was a king. No, I'm the same normal person. Like that is Jnani sees everything as a dream, everything as an illusion, a magic show. But it's nice to have entertainment. That's it. It has only entertainment value for him, nothing more than that. Sunrise is a magic, sunset is another magic, flowers blooming is a magic, people walking, talking, singing, acting is a magic. Oh, look at all this is animated by the same consciousness. What a wonderful show God puts up every day. Just enjoy the show for him. In that show, there are bad, sad moments also. There are suspense moments also. There are, very difficult moments also. But play is like that, right? All kinds of things happen in the play. All Navarasas should be there. After Bharat Sangeet Sammelan, you should have known that by now that our culture is rich because we express all emotions through Natya, through theatre. And the actor who can express all the emotions spontaneously is the best actor. Is he really crying on the stage? No, he's only acting that he's crying. Is he really laughing on the stage? No, he's just acting, he's laughing. Is he really angry on the stage? No, he looks angry, he's only acting. Is he really depressed? No. Is he really cruel? No, none of this is real. So the Jnani sits in the audience, enjoys the show. Doesn't get emotional. Oh, how sad that villain has captured the heroine. Oh, how sad the hero is not able to do this. No, he doesn't feel. He just emotional, like watching a movie. All of you watch a movie. You all know, right, that none of this is real. When kids are very small, they get scared. Like my grandmother used to scare me. All the people in the TV are watching you, she used to tell me. So behave yourself. So we were three very unruly children in our house. My mother was working, father was not at home, he was also working, so only three of us. And my grandmother had to handle three of us. We are only 1.5 years apart, so it's like no respect for each other. If you're 10 years apart, at least you have some respect. So in a household like that, three unruly children come back from school, there is an old granny. So she used to switch on the TV because we used to insist we want to watch TV. Then she used to say, that news reader, she's watching you. So you better all sit down. So we all will sit like statue in front of the TV. Till I went one day behind the TV set to search, where do these people enter this TV from? And she changes saris every day. So where does she keep her saris inside the TV? Then I figured it out, this granny was fooling all of us. But when was ignorant, we got fooled. When we became jnanis, nobody can fool us. Likewise, this gold and wealth and women and wine and all the attractions of the world can only fool an ignorant. A jnani will see through this nonsense and say, don't fool me with all this. None of this is real, I know. That is why he is free. So put a gold chain around him, he will not bother. Put a iron chain around him, he is the same. He doesn't give value to the material things. His value is only for the person who you truly are, which is your consciousness. He sees the divinity and that is the value he really gives. External achievements are not something that he values. So such a person is so confirmed in his idea, it's not theoretical for him. Nishchayi, Nishchayatmaka Buddhi. He is completely convinced, confirmed due to his experience. He experiences that. Then what happens? Alaksha Spurna Shuddhaha. Alaksha is unachievable, ungraspable. Spurnaha, it's an effulgence, it is a spontaneous experience of his. It's not an artificial experience achieved through effort. Naturally, because he's Shuddha, he's pure, he achieves this state of experience where he sees everything as an illusion. It is not a theory to him anymore. He just feels it because he experiences it. How it happens? Purnaha. Spontaneously it comes to him. He doesn't need to read books to understand this. He just feels it. Swabhava, because his nature is such. Swabhava naiva shamyati. Because his swabhava is that his nature is like that he's confirmed in his experience that all this is illusion. Those dollars are not real dollars. This lady is really not inside the TV. He knows it by experience. Therefore, he is not affected by what's happening. Doesn't get excited by the dollars. Doesn't get scared of the TV hosts. He is happy. He is free. And shamyati. No need for him to either practice any control or also another way of looking at it, he is always at peace. No, he doesn't have anything to do. That's what he's saying. What is there for such a person to do? Now, if really there was dollars over there, I will run and grab those dollars. There are no real dollars there. So why should I get up from my chair and lose the seat, the ringside view? I won't get up because I know it's a show. So these people don't get excited by all these worldly achievements, nor they become sad when they lose something. Whatever comes and goes is fine. Everything is fine for these people. Now compare these people with just an ordinary person who laughs when things are going good, who cries when things are going bad, who gets excited when he achieves something, who get depressed when the achievements are not up to the mark, who gets very, exuberated when somebody praises them, and falls into a great depression, mental illness if somebody says something bad. Think of the life of are they free? Are they really free? They are not. They are bound by their own emotions, their expectations, their desires, their attachments. They are bound like chained. That kind of life is no life at all, is what Ashtavakra is saying. What kind of life is that? Baddha Jivana. Be Buddha Jivana. Buddha means free, who is aware of the truth. And who is Buddha? Only who is Shuddha. The one who is pure only can attain that awareness. Who is pure? Who is desireless. So whole thing boils down to man minus desire is equal to God. Only that much is the essence of all scriptures. When all desires disappear, you become divine. Any desire, even the desire for moksha, is no real desire. So therefore it should disappear. So this idea, Ashtavakra Gita, as I said, is not a scripture that is a beginning scripture. This is an advanced study for our spiritual thing. Now, most lokas are coming. So, the idea is that if you can be convinced in your experience, only then you will appreciate Ashtavakra. Theoretically, all of you are appreciating. I am perfectly okay with that. At least it's a good beginning. Well begun is half done, as they say. You at least understand that, okay, while I get attached and I cry and yell and shout, and then I get excited, happy, and then I have all these other ideas, these are mine, those are not. All these are not good. At least that much has gone inside everybody's head or not. That is a good beginning. And I hope that that you make a point to dwell on this. Continuously remind yourself of your true nature. Then slowly these ideas will fall away. It has taken time for everybody. Buddha did not become Buddha in a single day. It took several years of effort. That craving, pining, yearning to know the knowledge, then going through all the sufferings, experiencing all the both sides of the world, then deciding to abandon it, then deciding to search for truth is a process. Nothing happens overnight. So Bhagavan used to say, when I am with children, I am a child. When I am with men, I am a man. When I am with women, I am a woman. When I am alone, I am God, he used to say. That is the idea. They will interact with the world, behave with them, do things just like anybody. That is why it's very difficult to spot a jnani. In fact, the real jnani should be the one who should not be spottable. He should merge himself, live like as if nobody knows that he's a jnani. This whole drama around jnana, no? Put on this big vibhuti, lot of this thing, rudraksha, grow your hair, put a knocker robe, all this wooden sand. This is not necessary. Yesterday only the story of Dharmavyadha, the one who was a butcher, and yet he's a Brahmagyani. Imagine butcher, picture that place, half corpses of animals hanging, and then flesh lying all around, blood-stained places, and stinky, dirty clothing. And here is this man who's a Brahmagyani with a knife in his hand. Generally, Brahmagyana means a sage with a beard, vibhuti, calm face, ochre clothes, sitting in a Padmasana posture under a tree in the mountains, or running an ashram and giving wisdom, preaching. This is what Brahmagyanis we have an imagination of, right? Look, Mahabharata destroys all our imagination. It talks about the butcher, Dharmavyada, and he gives a beautiful, the Gita is there after that, Vyada Gita, about his treatise on Atma Jnana. And what is his look? A butcher. Now you picture that, sitting in front of a butcher's shop and learning Atma Jnana. But this is how our scriptures are, how powerful. You don't have to change anything on the outside. Wear what you wear, eat what you eat, do what you do. Change the inside. You are unattached, desireless, selfless and pure. Period. Nothing more needs to be done. So when people come to this ashram, they are very shocked. Oh, everybody is so well dressed. We thought people will be like, dressed in whatever cotton, linen, no shiny, like these kind of dressing and things like that. I said, and they look at me and they say, you are Gyani, and look at you, you are the most sophisticated, so-called unconventional saint I am. But they say, how this can be Jnana? There cannot be Jnana. So yesterday also is asking the interviewer, how will you spot a real Jnani, a real Sadguru? What is the criteria? What are the hints? What are the cues to know that this person is a real Sadguru and this one is a fake? I said, just look at what is happening around, not look at him. Don't look at him. If you look at him, there could be different kinds of Sadgurus, with different attires, different demeanors. Don't look at them. Look at what is happening around them. And then decide whether he's a real Sadguru or a fake one. Look at what is happening around. Selfless work, pure work. People are getting spiritually elevated. They are doing selfless work, desireless work. What more do you want? That is the clear indication of some Jnani should be here. If all people around are just dancing, singing and making merry in the name of spirituality, how is that Sadguru and how is that Jnana? Not at all. But most of our spiritual traditions have been unfortunately reduced to only that much. Idol worship, jumping around with bhakti means bhakti is good. I am not saying it is not. But it has limitations. It sometimes becomes madness, orthodoxy, fanaticism. That's not jnana. Jnana is when there is selfless love overflowing in that place through everyone. Everybody's cup is full. And then people come and say, from the gatekeeper to the person when we meet, we feel so much of love. They're so happy. The other person was telling the conclave that happened. One of them, very, very keen observer, and his observation is very different. He says, I am not impressed because it is free, which most of the people were first impressed about. I am not even impressed that it is so clean, being a charity hospital, standards are so high and good. Everything looks so spick and span, which is not their expectation when they come to a charity hospital. I am only surprised at how happy everybody is while working in a hospital. I've never seen a happier hospital. The patients are happy, doctors are happy, janitors are happy, administrators are happy. I have not seen a hospital like this. That is why I believe that this is something unique. How do you do that? He said. I said, I didn't do anything. I just gave them the opportunity to express the divinity that they already have within themselves. I did not do anything extra. I provided a platform where they could be themselves. Akritrimo, they need not be artificial, they can be natural. Naturally, we are compassionate. Naturally, we are kind. Naturally, we are helpful. That's how we are made. So, when we are giving that environment where you can be naturally yourselves, you are happy. Put a child inside a room and say, you play here, he's not happy. Leave him on the ground, run from here to there like mad. When children run around, sometimes in satsangs also, abroad also I've seen, children will be there, they'll be sitting in the back. They'll be running the whole place. I have to be really focused to give discourse. Very distracting. This is their nature, freedom, happiness. You tie them to a chair and desk, they're not happy. So what is this environment, this ashram, this place is a platform where you can express who you truly are. That's why I tell children, if you are singers, express yourself through singing. If you are dancers, express you through dance. If you are a scientist, express through science. If you are a medicine professional, express through medical care. Whatever is your inner nature, express it. That's when you are happy. If you live somebody else's pretentious life, you'll suffer all your life. That's why all the mental illness problems, anxiety, depression, stress, is because people are living somebody else's life. And what is your true life? Selfless, desireless, purity. That is all your pure nature is. So people get to be selfless here, at least some extent, if not 100%, 99% they are selfless. 1%, yeah, I am doing it, that doership somehow comes in. But 99%, no, because of all this, we are able to help somebody. They are happy, they are able to express themselves, stress is less. So that is the idea. So idea of a Brahmagyani is that don't look at him how he or she behaves. Look around how others behave around them. How all these things happen around them. There was a minister who used to come to Puttaparthi, and she was a female saint who also is a minister. So whenever she will come, her name was Uma Bharati, she would say, I love Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba not for what he is, but for what I am when I am with him. That is why I love him. See the beauty of that understanding, you see. What he is, he is. That you can't change. But what we become in his presence, that shows us what he truly is. What he does to us. That is the idea. What you become is the proof of who I am. What happens around here is the proof of who I am. That's what I was telling the journalist. No, people don't come here for my sake. People come here for the sake of being themselves. That is how this organization is so motivated. He said, how do you motivate these many people to do their very best every day? People get exhausted, people get tired in other organizations. And I said, because they are just being themselves. That is their greatest incentive. That is the greatest drive. I'm just allowing them to be their purest self possible through these institutions. And that's why I don't have to motivate them separately. They are self-motivated because of that. Right? That is the idea of Brahmagyana. One Brahmagyana is enough. Bhagavan used to say, the best way you can help me is to become me. Not become like me. Become me. If there are two suns in the sky, imagine how much light will be there, he said. One sun can do so much if there are two suns, but both have to burn. Suns have to burn. That willingness one should have. But truly it is not burning. It is spontaneity of their love. Rivers flow not because they want to flow or not want to flow. It is their nature to flow. Give water to everybody. Sun gives light to everybody. And that the atmosphere, Andaji was saying, if you measure the amount of power that sun generates and we use it every day, and if you charge that power based on the Calcutta Electricity Board bill, per unit, then all the wealth of the world will not be sufficient to repay sun for 1 day's electricity charges, he said. That much he gives. I mean, the idea of giving is core to the idea of jnana. These wise people always give. Kabir Das Doha is there. तरवर फल नहीं खात है, सरवर पियत न नीर, परमारथ के कारणे संतन धरा शरीर. It means the trees don't eat their fruits, the rivers don't drink their own water. For others' sake, the saints take up a body. They come in a body only to serve. That is the whole idea of our spirituality. Please dwell upon it. You already, as I said, you are very lucky because it's not just theory. You have an opportunity to practice it. Now you know why mission is important. Because otherwise you will not practice it. You just can't practice it in Bangalore or some Chennai and Hyderabad or US. No. It doesn't give you the ecosystem within which you can practice. Here is where it is easy. So once you practice and you become very good at it, like driving a car in an uncrowded place, then you can go to the highway. Then you go anywhere in the world, I'm sure I'll post you anywhere in the world, you'll do a great job. You will not get affected and you won't get influenced by them. You will influence them and change them.